some economic activity goes on there. There is already a potential of economic activity. And with transport infrastructure, with access, we try and connect these two, whereby lots of opportunities then grow for a mixed use development. So Panvel is one, Bhivandi, Kharbau area is the other one. Kalyan Growth Center, Kalyan is 27 villages where one special township is already coming up. There we have already identified one growth center, and in our recent authority meeting, which is chaired by the Honorable Chief Minister, we cleared this growth center, which is about 1,000 hectares. The idea of creating these growth centers, as I said, was that MMRDA creates a state-of-the-art infrastructure. People try and always compare it with BKC. BKC is something that we've created, which is so to say a financial district or a business center today. But in our scheme of things, there would be different orders of these growth centers. When we say Bhivandi is a logistics center, so for a typical company, you need to do your logistics there, come up for your middle order in Kalyan, and you should be looking at only for your corporate office in BKC. Because considering the costs, if you're optimizing, that is the way, if we are able to provide you the right access, that is the transport access. So so to say, the vision or the story goes like this, that if you are looking at all these areas, I mean, apart from, as I counted, Panvel, Bhivandi, Kalyan, even Vasai area, we have identified it as a growth center. Now, when I talk about these different orders, it essentially means that if you are more, if you're talking more on the residential or the accommodation part, we've kind of misunderstood or misused this word called affordable housing. We discuss this very often, reach the conclusion that there is nothing that is affordable in Mumbai. You can make one room flats, 1 BHK, whatever, but if it is going to cost 1 crore, how is it affordable? So the whole question is appropriate housing. So when we say appropriate housing essentially means that when you will create a certain housing in a certain area which has good transport access, it definitely will lead to that kind of affordability. The point is that government probably cannot substitute the market, and should not. I mean, I think we should not try and get into this area where we say we can control this completely. It's not a good idea, I suppose. So the government definitely is planning, and MMRD as an agency of the government, where we are saying 2 or 3 things. In this way, we are saying that this kind of appropriate housing can be created at different levels by using these 3 or 4 mechanisms. One mechanism could be that between A to B point, a good BRTS or a metro is created. So what we call transit-oriented development, on that path, this kind of housing comes up, because you create those centers of business are also created. And this has been done, I mean, since we've just sort of completed this whole exercise of our regional plan, this has been done with a lot of inputs, lot of data, because I think one thing that we completely miss out on is good data. In our country, when we are planning, we are really bad on, or we are really suboptimal on this data part. So we've used some good data. Now there are good information systems, where we've reached these conclusions to say that these are the areas which we will connect, how MMRDA will provide that infrastructure. Infrastructure is not just transport infrastructure. In the growth centers that are identified, all the rest of the infrastructure also. For example, to start with in Kalyan, let's say about, in fact, the plan is huge of about 11,000 crores or something, but to start with, the 1,000 crores plan starts immediately, whereby when we say okay, the main roads, the connectivity, water, sewerage, and at least, the land, because the model we are using is not exactly the SIDCO model that is being used for NAINA, but this is the regular town planning scheme, where we do get some land with us, which can be used for specific purposes. We got this study done by a Korean consultant, where we come up with an R&D center there, or what is called MICE. MICE essentially means some sort of convention center, or what is typically called meetings, incentives. Yeah, meetings, incentives, conventions, so conferences or whatever. So you create that kind of infrastructure, which in turn will have linkages for these kind of economic activity, because these are the kind of opportunities which have been identified, and in some of these we have gone ahead to make those infrastructure plans. Now, world over, when we have been discussing this mixed use, which means again, urban sprawl versus this kind of argument, whether it's a good idea. I think mostly for our region, we all are unanimous in saying that mixed use is the model that must be pursued. We can't have those American kind of cities or development or urban sprawls where you just segregate everything. Here we are allowing more and more of mixed use, whereby residential, commercial, for that matter, even industrial, in all these growth centers is being pursued in a way where everything coexists. The whole idea, this big sustainability argument, which ultimately you don't have to go too far for work, or you can do most of the things there. So when we dream and talk about these townships that we are talking right now, what in practice has been happening is that typically, and I don't blame the developers, typically what's happening is you are creating more dormitory towns, because right now it's the residential that attracts you. I mean, if there is a market for residential, you say, oh, I will build more houses. And in some funny understanding of what we call our development plans, when we call some area as C1 or commercial, we allow 90% residential. So the whole purpose is defeated, I mean, in that sense. When you say that I wanted it to be a commercial region or commercial activity, we allow that kind of residential activity. So you end up doing that because that's what the market probably tells you right now. This whole exercise of planning for us means something more serious than that. It means that we should be able to present a model. Of course, one of the tools is to restrict that or allow only that much commercial or that much residential. But the other tool is to incentivize this whole mixed use in a way where as a private developer, you don't see it as a losing proposition, whereby you don't look at it as something which is being forced.